Welcome back for Game 3, Counter Logic Gaming taking on TSM. And we're going to kick things off as usual by looking at the rosters for the starting lineups. Selecting the blue side was Counter Logic Gaming, and their top laner is Darshan, their jungler Rainover, mid laner Huhi, their bot lane Stixay, and support Biofrost. Their coach, as always, for so many years now, Zix.
And facing them on the red side, it is TSM. In the top lane, Haunser. In the jungle, Mike Young. Mid lane, Bjergsen. Bottom, Sven. Support, Mithy, and Coach Song on stage.
And the story of TSM season has had some ups and downs, but there's no denying that a harsh spotlight was aimed at Mike Young, and it finally seems like he's playing well alongside the rest of the team.
Yeah, Mike Young, yesterday we saw him just bash the jungle matchup versus the Golden Guardians. And there was a meme, you know, that TSM turns their junglers into wards. But after week 6, Mike Young has been consistently improving. He's made more proactive plays for the team. And they seem to be feeling a lot more comfortable with him in their lineup.
Now, speaking of being comfortable, TSM, of course, locked into the playoffs, but they're facing a CLG who are missing their first LCS playoffs ever. But they're up against the longtime rivals in CLG. You know they're going to put this one in with a lot of effort.
Yeah, that's true. Yesterday was a heartbreaker for CLG. They lost their spot in playoffs before they even had a chance to play. And then they also lost their game to Optics. So that was definitely, you know, a big moral defeat for them. But this is a game versus TSM. And games versus TSM always, you know, mean something in themselves for, you know, this organization. So very excited to see what they bring this time around.
Absolutely the case. And if you want the 5-way tie at the end of the day, you want TSM to win for this one. It's going to be an exciting one. Champ Select has begun, and we are ready to go. 8.5, the last game of the split for Counter Logic Gaming, the only time they've ever been denied postseason in a split, but it is this time around. Jat thought they were the best team in NA. That was sadly not the case here. TSM making that late split surge, and they actually look like, in some people's eyes, the favorite to win North America. And they looked so bad early on.
It is, you know, TSM is one of the first teams that comes out of people's mouths when you bump into them in the hallways, the players and coaches and stuff. So, yeah, that long history of success will do it for you.
Yeah, TSM 6-2 in the back half of the split. And you can look at that record, and it was a 4-5 start. So they've really turned things around quite nicely. And now against CLG, a team they're expected to beat, would make it a 7-2 run into playoffs. And you have people like Sven and Mithy and Bjergsen and Haunser who pretty much only ever win. And we'll see if that pedigree can continue. Olaf, Rakan, and a bunch of other champions off the table there. No Gangplank allowed for Haunser, which is interesting because, of course, Darshan played Lucian into it yesterday, though they did not turn that into a win.
Yeah, maybe not comfortable running it this time around. The Tom Kench also off the board, so maybe thinking of some more pick potential from Counter Logic Gaming. Maybe like Aurelian Soul compositions for some roaming plays, maybe.
Sure.
Rise here, Hover, might put an end to that very quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. Rise, last time I checked, was the most prolific mid laner in the patch, but we'll see what comes through. Oh, I should say 8.4. Of course, 8.5 had some nerfs for the champion, so he's not quite as high priority anymore. They're going to go Varus instead. What most people consider the cream of the crop of AD carries, and with Zero Marksman banned, that is what CLG thought was the most important champion to pick at this stage.
Okay, Stixay going to have his Varus. Possibilities of big ultimates. You can bring so much crowd control from the bottom side. However, this season on Varus, we have seen him actually hit by a lot of crowd control. So has to be very careful in those engagements.
He's played this now 3 times in a row. A lot of picks in that champion as Ram, and what will Mike Young play in his end of the regular season? Of course, there is a likely result that TSM is in a tiebreaker. Looking at all the results, there is a chance that they don't, but it would require them, I believe, you know, getting in special circumstances. So not going to talk about that too much right now. But Skarner, of course, still left available, and Mike Young going to get probably the premier jungler in pro play right now, but that will be answered by what looks like a Sejuani out of Rainover.
Yeah, and I think CLG kind of expecting that. You know, they banned the Kazakhs. They were just first picking AD carry, so kind of handing that power pick over. Very ready and willing to play around the QSS possibilities here. In the bottom side, Biofrost, who has been such a big you know, player for this squad, both, you know, in team communication, on and off the Rift. He is going to have that Taric, so a lot of team fight power. And you talk about crowd control, Counter Logic Gaming definitely bringing a lot of that
So Varus Terret goes into Braum plus Kog'Maw as Ven locks in his champion. Both teams showing their bottom lanes and jungles in similar orders here. So now TSM must begin phase 2 of the bans. Mid and top lane still available for all these teams.
Yeah, so TSM, I would think actually might want to blind pick for top side and just go, you know, with a Cho'Gath or a tank or something like that that isn't going to have, you know, the most terrible of times, and then save blind pick or save counter pick for Bjergsen. With the way that Bjergsen has been playing in the second half of the split,
He's been nuts.
Has actually been hard carrying these games. But we shall see. They get to choose which solo laner they want to save the counter pick for. So who has more pull in the team, Hauntzer or Bjergsen?
I'm going to say Song has the most pull, as Anivia's banned away, which actually prompts you to think maybe it's Ryze first up. We've seen Anivia be a counterpick to that champion, or maybe another sort of short-range mage. And let's see, does Ziggs ban away Ryze? He's afraid of it. He's smiling as well. Maybe they've got some clever tricks up their sleeve for game 18 of the split. As seconds tick down, what does CLG think is important? They will get rid of that Cho'Gath, so
I think that's
brain
smart.
Kobe over there is calling that one out. So he's at the blind Ryze because you banned away Anivia.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What's it going to be? They're going to blind safer top side. I mean, you can also always blind
Flex.
You can blind Gnar as well if they really wanted to.
It's true.
Save that counter pick. Or have a flex pick, as you're talking about. You know, Sion, top, mid.
Yep.
Going to keep the questions
Hauntzer.
rolling here.
Hauntzer nodding. They can run a 4-tank team like we had out of Wild Turtle earlier. They can find another tank for themselves to play in the mid and top lane. As Stixxay hovers his favorite champions, Teemo and Warwick.
It definitely worked for FlyQuest.
I want to see Swain. Swain's still up, and I think incredibly strong.
Especially against into teams that have a lot of tanks. But not the case yet here. Could be a
blitz mid.
Could be a mid.
Sion actually has a very good matchup with the Gnar statistically.
Yeah.
In fact, it seemed to be coming out as sort of a counter pick as well. So Darshan opting into kind of a bad matchup here, and I think Hauntzer can feel very good on the top side as the Aurelion Soul Hover comes in. Will Huhi end his split on his trademark champion? Talia. So no.
Pretty close to the trademark, though. A lot of similar strategy.
That's
playing the champion. Maybe not quite as early of roams will come out from the Talia, especially you know, if Bjergsen has his way. But looks like TSM actually might want to do dual carries rather than the 4 tank and plus Kog'Maw strategy here, because Bjergsen has been playing so well, putting out DPS. Hard to argue with that one, you know.
It is.
Well, you get both, right?
We get both.
Honestly,
we get it all the same.
To me, Swain right now in the current state of the champion with that power is 3/4 of a tank as well as
great.
3/4 of a carry. So you get 1.5 champions.
Champion is definitely really strong. I'm not surprised to see the Swain come out right here for Bjergsen. Did not get played yesterday, but TSM showing, yep, we know the champion too, which I always find interesting that teams reveal picks at the end of the regular season. I feel like TSM would have been likely to win even with Ryze here, but you know, far be it for me to tell them what to pick, and they said, yep, let's go ahead and bring out our first Swain of the split on Bjergsen and let him go for it.
Not too big of a reveal when it's
not a shock.
Yeah,
I know, but it's still interesting to see, right? Either way, the champs are in. They've been locked, and we've got 2 carries on both these sides. Talia and a Varus for Counterlogic Gaming, a Swain and a Kog'Maw here for TSM. That Sion is going to be top lane after all. And this will be the last time these teams meet until the summer split, but it is Counter Logic Gaming versus TSM, only 3 games apart in this split. CLG can drag TSM down with him a little bit here at the end of it all. Let's see what happens into this one as the game loads in, the fans are ready, and the players ready to get themselves into the game as well.
And if we run down the compositions, I'm definitely going to be looking at the bottom lane here. CLG looks like they're set up to possibly play off of it. You know, Stixxay and Biofrost, even early on you can make plays there, but especially post level 6 and try and keep Sven on the Kog'Maw down, make him use his passive, and try and get some bottom lane control into some Drake control. Otherwise, TSM definitely looking pretty scary here as far as the power spikes that they can hit, because Swain as well does come online pretty early. So as soon as, you know, Rageblade comes in, it could be very similar to the FlyQuest game where we have Skarner and Scion dual engagement tools for them.
Right. And the follow through from Braum and everyone else. It's always nice having hard crowd control when you are Swain because it makes your W easy to land, it makes your passive easy to trigger, and you get healthy and you get lots of damage.
And you get to yoink people.
You get to yoink people! That is the official term. First time it happens, I'm yelling that one out. Ooh! Boomerang. Emphasis on the boom. So much damage. Wow.
2 hits onto that ward. Boom. It's going to feel that one.
Yep. Do wards have feelings, Kobe? How do you feel about this one?
No.
As a professor, do you say they don't have feelings?
They definitely do not have feelings. As someone who has had to kill a lot of wards in my day, the way that I've dealt with it is I decided early on wards have no feelings, so I don't feel bad about it. Otherwise, you know,
do minions have feelings, Kobe?
Atrocities. Same thing for minions. Those are actually robots, not life forms.
Okay. But Baron is alive, and that's why you don't kill him so often.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're going to have red buff starts for both junglers. We actually will have Micah pathing downwards. So maybe going for that Scuttle Crab. They did get the bottom Spire to assist in taking that Scuttle Crab and maybe setting up some early vision around the bottom side of this map, in addition to one of the early trinket wards being dropped off there. So they definitely do have similar thoughts as far as the early way they want to play this composition.
Huhi's first trinket ward comes down on his bot side of the lane. He just put that one in case he wants to track Mike Young going for the ganks. But Mike is going for a heavy clear for the path instead. He's actually going Krugs after Raptors.
So this, because it is so unexpected, especially for a Skarner, to go to the one camp away from your Spire, it's kind of protecting against the counter jungle, where most routes usually people just path down and then steal the opponent's Krugs. Mike Young can force Reignover into a little bit of wasted time, as Reignover is definitely the premier junglers, especially early on in trying to eke out those camp leads, experience leads against the enemy jungler.
Yoink! Damage him through the mid lane. Bjergsen gets a nice trade against Huhi there. But holding all his potions, he seems just fine.
Yeah, and we also get to see there on screen, you know, some of the buffs to Swain on the patch. Vision of the Empire, huge. Eyeball comes out. Sauron put him to shame. Yeah,
I was going to go make the same reference. But you beat me to it, Kobe. You're smarter than I am. Quicker on the draw.
Opening.
Yeah, you did give me an opening, and I was like, okay, get the sentence together. Sauron, too late. Huhi fighting. And, oh, he misses first CS of the game. That was the one final that Huhi has lost. Otherwise, he's been perfect up through 3 waves. Bjergsen puts a trinket down to the top side and is actually correct in that assessment as Reignover is up there.
Yeah, and once again, we were talking about the kind of guarding against that counter jungle. Took away those Krugs, so the Krug's not available for him. He does drop off the control ward, and now he'll find... Mike Young, so creative. When did his own Krugs on Skarner. So now Mike has an extra camp possibility. However, bottom lane of CLG is actually pushing up right now with the Varus early on, so Mike actually going to answer would be a bit risky, and probably should just settle for that Scuttle Crab to get the vision for the bottom side. And there we go, he's going to have that recall instead.
All right, so no gank happens on the top side. No camps taken away by a Reignover. 24-27, the overall score is right there. The Predator boots, of course, available for Mike Young. We'll see what he can find for himself as Reignover looks to get back onto the map. Got his red smite. I don't believe he went through any vision right now. However, Bjergsen's playing safely enough that there's no real pickup to be had.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going for a recall at the moment. Does have teleport, trying to get back out with his first purchase before he gets that level 6. Hanzo on the top side, quite a bit in this trade.
Darshan. The buffs to the E damage actually pretty meaningful as well, as he gets quite a lot of hits in. Dematerializer in for Bjergsen helped him stay afloat in the mid lane matchups. Now Mike Young and Mithy looking for an invade, an aggressive control ward, and now getting rid of Reignover's Raptors potentially. Grabs that one, 15 gold, and fire hard to fight.
We do have the first support roam from TSM, but Biofrost is now making his way up from CLG, so maybe Smite Fight, they go for the stun.
Ooh, the auto attack comes through, and Reignover pretty low on health. The flash for the chase in, they're gonna get the damage, and the kill comes through. First blood to Mike Young. TSM starting out well, 600 gold lead.
So much cleaner from TSM than the beginning of the season. This time around, no hesitation. Mithy was there in front of the timing. They're able to immediately jump onto Reignover. Bjergsen able to pull him in with a Ravenous Flock, and man, they're transitioning into the Drake even very early on, leaving Sven on Kog'Maw 1v2ing in the bottom side. TSM really taking hold of that small opening and punishing CLG.
Yeah, Sven down on farm a little bit, some of that being that he took an early recall for the recurve bow here, but honestly, a sub 6-minute Ocean Drake is so insane for laning phase. You're pretty much immune to poke now, and I think Hanser is going to feel really good about that in his matchup.
Yeah, so once again, you take the Spire first on Skarner, gives you insane move speed and attack speed. Bjergsen on the Swain was already ahead, so moves over, and honestly, it was incredibly risky for Reignover to stand around for that smite fight. Especially considering not only is there a lot of crowd control, as you mentioned, but Swain also gets to pull you back. So really a dangerous 1v3, honestly, for him to take. Does get punished. Meanwhile, Reignover trying to get back out onto the field to one of the winning lanes here, where Darshan's been pushing Hanser in, but they aren't able to find much except for the flash.
You can see in those little lower thirds down there, if you want tiebreakers, you want TSM to win, chances are much higher for them and even for more games. Right now it's looking pretty good for themselves. TSM honestly have been looking quite good in the back half of the split. CLG almost had that surge, but then of course started falling right back down. TSM a 6-2 run, CLG 4-4 in the back half of the split. TSM hoping to improve to 11, just like Cloud9 and Clutch have ended their splits at.
Yeah.
As they join more and more teams, and Biofrost, for living so long as a ward on TSM's team, forgot where they normally get put down.
Jeez. Well, wards don't want to kill other wards.
That's true.
Stixxay in the bottom side is going to have the wave pushing towards him as well. So they're closing in on the level 6 possibility too. So even though CLG lost a lot around that mid lane play, and Mike Young did get to level 6 first, if they can get access to a Varus and Taric ultimate very early on, in addition to a Huki Roam, there's still possibilities for them sticking to that game plan, playing around the bottom side, and trying to come up with some sort of pressure there.
Right now, just farm going back and forth. Small 7-minion lead for Darshan on the top lane. Reignover has tried to gank that lane, but somewhat unsuccessfully.
And Reignover's still trying to get his level 6. I think he's going to need to do the Raptors first before he gets it. And then he might head down through that control ward. But Mike Young's already there. And they know there's a possibility since that wave was pushing. So hovering around for possible counter gank. You can see the bottom lane also playing safer now that Mike is going back up into the jungle.
Waiting to see where the pressure can come in. Right now, TSM can feel pretty safe having a somewhat slower early game, so they tend to have pretty good early games normally. Blue buff hand off their second of the game. This one finally going to go over to Bjergsen to give him more pressure in that mid lane. Farm has been equal though, which is honestly pretty solid being against Atilia, who's normally lane dominant early on.
Yeah, Swain very, very powerful with the mid-range access. Bjergsen also, I mean, pretty much most Swains are going to take minion dematerializer, but he used all his charges very early on as well. And here's that bottom lane play I was looking for.
Here comes the attempt right there as Reignover shows up. They're going to find some CC onto Smithy. Flash comes in. They find the East into the ulti, but pops the cleanse as now Mike Young is here, holding them in melee range to land the rest of it. As they've got a lot of shots towards Reignover. The shot comes through Vision of Empire, but it's turned around by CLG. Stixxay gets one, looking for two. He finds it. He shoots true. Two for the Varus in the bot lane.
Bjergsen trying to come around back and Sven dealing damage.
And Bjergsen's in the fray, but an ulti out of Tarik's going to make it a little bit easier for CLG to fight with this one as Sven flashes out, looking for some CC, maybe towards Bjergsen. Does he find himself the target of opportunity then? As they wait for the next option, but no, the ult's just traded away. It remains that 2-0 in CLG's favor.
Yep, both teams, same idea there. They could very clearly read the composition, and now with the roam, CLG are able to take a little bit back into this game. That was a much needed victory for them because Infernal Drake is going to be the first dragon coming in almost 2 minutes on the bottom side. Let's take another look as Biofrost does get the double stun, and that's how they're able to get the health lead here initially. But then, Reignover using that ultimate onto Mithy, a little bit ill-advised. Here's where it gets dicey. And this is honestly, could almost go either way. Reignover, a couple of extra hits there, but they're unable to take him down. And the red smite damage reduction is a big factor in that. Mike Young on the Skarner's gone for the blue. He wants more speed to catch people, and
Flash to find the knockup. Hanser does not have flash or ult himself, but they can't find the kill. So now here comes Bjergsen into the fray. Knocked back by Meganar, but Mike Young's joined this fight as well. 3 versus 2. The knockups way too numerous. Reignover will die and cede his crown this time around. 2-2 in overall kills. TSM remain up 500 gold.
TSM strike back. Reignover punished again here. Another death for him on the Sejuani. Bjergsen using both summoners though. He uses that opening just to push the minion wave and get his recall off on the Talia. We'll have his ultimate coming up soon though, so maybe there's a swing in power here as we do have the kind of seesaw in globals and roams from mid lane. Supports now, looking for some openings. Biofrost does clear out some wards, goes through mid, gonna get another control.
There we go. Ward killed. Biofrost earns 30 gold for his troubles. I heard you. And now, 700 gold, TSM, keeping the pressure going. I do like Rod of Ages early for Bjergsen. I know we've seen Abyssal Mask sometimes from these players, but I think AP is just such a vital stat for Swain. He actually needs to deal the damage, and 100 AP out of Roa is really nice to have. A bit of damage come out from Huhi. Harry helping as well, and shove minions back and forth as per usual.
Yeah, deals with the minion wave, has a little bit of push, but Bjergsen strikes right back, lands his combo.
Yeah, heals up nicely with the passive. Now, Rageblade timing did come in first for Stixxay. He is the one with the power spike now. But meanwhile, on the top side of the map, it's TSM looking for the next one as Darshan will have Meganar. Does not have the ultimate, it seems. And look at the damage output coming across as 4 have shown up, and he could not do anything about that. Saves the flash. It will be a trade of top lane outer for this Infernal Drake. CLG, again, had better under the bot lane anyway. I think it's smart for TSM to leave.
Yeah, I think it's always a smart choice to go for the tempo play when you know that you're in the losing situation anyways. 2 of those kills went to Stixxay. You just were talking about the Rageblade discrepancy here. It's too much of a problem on the bottom side. So instead of just sitting there and sitting in the bad situation, TSM make the proactive call to swap their bottom lane first, go for the play on top side, and they're rewarded with not only a kill, but also first turret bonus. CLG, though, still happy to get the Infernal Drake, still able to get the turret afterwards, even though there isn't that little bit of bonus gold.
Also going to mean Shelly picked up by Mike Young, so an extra objective here. Overall trade being +1 kill, plus first turret bonus gold, which is 300, and then a trade of Infernal Drake for that Rift Herald. Unless Inferno really matters a lot much later on, that feels quite nice for TSM.
Yeah, we've also had a splitting of the map here in Vision. Because of the discrepancy, TSM overloading top side, all their wards have been left behind, in this blue quadrant of Counterlogic Gaming's jungle. Meanwhile, on the mini-map, you can see as well, a bunch of CLG wards and control wards, especially, have been left here behind in TSM jungle. So you have to be so wary when you switch back after an objective trade like that, because it's so much more difficult to walk through and clear out that ward. Use the buddy system here, Biofrost and Huhi, staying safe.
30 gold goes over to Huhi. Good guy Biofrost, helping to feed his teammates more than himself. Going to be stacking his own tier slowly but surely. Derek is a very mana-hungry champion and saving most of his dematerializes for what could be eventual pushes.
Yeah, that's one of the worst feeling things about support right now. Both of the supports are saving the item slot for possible Baron minions. But here we go. Talia wall used to split.
Oh, and Braum stops it, so they walk right in, no problem. Shelly is ready to go. Rears back, smack. In the front line she goes, and now a flash suppression comes in, looking for the kill, but Biofrost gets right back out. Ulti comes in, will not survive in time, but puts some vulnerability on the rest of his teammates. TV Blank comes in, but Darshan is Mininar, jumps away, might get caught out, not getting slow just yet, but now Minty primes the stun. Bjergsen on the bottom side, though, will be maybe losing his life, but pops the stopwatch and pushes the team away as the CLG members are falling left and right. This will be the 4th kill of the battle. An easy yoink comes through, the double kill for Bjergsen, mid-turret to fall as well.
Oh, TSM, they focus down Biofrost before the immunity, and then Darshan still completes the teleport. CLG seemingly wanting to still go for the play, try and take advantage of what TSM had burned, but Bjergsen with that stopwatch, that was one of the biggest stopwatch plays, because he basically 1v3s the rest of Counterlogic Gaming at their turret and keeps them away from Darshan, allowing the rest of TSM to kill Darshan. Here's the initiation, though, as Biofrost, gets Gunner ultimate, then he gets taken down before the immunity comes down from his ultimate. CLG, they still have the teleport come in, but Bjergsen up here, 1v3ing on the front line basically, while everyone else on TSM kills Darshan, and then he still has stopwatch. Lets off the ultimate, big explosion, gets his kill, and that is a huge swing for mid-game. Kills plus the mid-turret, and a lot of territory to go with it.
What I absolutely love about that fight is Swain is known for his command of birds, and frickin' Stixxay died to chickens after flashing over the wall.
Oh, I didn't even catch the last
The
thing
end
there.
of the ult from Bjergsen aggroed them, and his own jungle minions got him the kill on
Ravenous
Stixxay.
Flock extends to the
true
jungle camp.
Ravenous Flock. Oh, it's beautiful. So Poetry is not dead in League of Legends, and a 5,000 gold lead means that CLG just might be.
I knew there was something you saw in that team fight because there's this twinkle in your eye just waiting to yep on it. Very nice there. Using the environment to your advantage, always a big plus.
What a true tactician. The great general always uses the environment to his advantage. Ah, so much thematics in this game.
Bjergsen definitely with... never mind. We're done.
All right.
We're going to move into the jungle instead. TSM trying to clear out the control wards, establish some high ground for themselves. And Huhi will be able to secure his blue, though, at least, for Counterlogic Gaming's sake. And see how they recover from this one, because TSM immediately flex out into 1-3-1, trying to use their double teleports to get the minion waves in place.
Let's see where they go. Hanser alone in the bot lane. He's got himself one minion wave. This might be hard to kill by itself, especially with Gnar coming in, so Darshan will be defending shortly. 2 to 3 people in the mid lane as Swain is shoving out top and being matched right now, but look at that hard engage into the bot side. Darshan gets himself 1 kill, heals with Triumph, and then gets punched by a zombie. Either way, though, there's going to be a turret kill and an extra assist picked up, so TSM coming out ahead in that one.
Yeah, as you said, the extra 50% basically value of the kill since assist pool is added. They get the objective as well. The question is, because they had an extra person down there who isn't going to be able to join for another 15 seconds, does CLG actually take advantage of the extra person on bottom side, or Phantom right now? Answer, not really. They do shove this extra minion wave into the turret on top side, but here's another look at how that one started. Mike Young path down there. Hanser is the one taking it off, and then he's not getting out. He uses his ultimate in there for the combo. Darshan transforms just in time. Meganar able to get the double stun off, and good job for Darshan, fighting, at least getting 1 kill back for himself.
Yeah, that was a nice little attempt right there, and made the best of a bad situation, but Mike has got a lot of these tower dives in the back. I mean, he's 7 out of 8 kill participation. He's actually had the most impact on the team, getting in there on the Skarner, finding the tower dive. He's got Predator, he's got his Righteous Glory as well, so a pretty swift Skarner right now.
Hanser tied with him. He's got 7 as well.
True. But I was singing Mike Young's praises, and first is still most, even if you're tied for first.
That's true. And Jungler gets the tiebreaker.
I agree.
Here we go, though. Ocean Drake coming up again, so could add another one, but Bjergsen
gets knocked into the air, and wings don't work well enough for that one. Pops his Zhonya's Hourglass, waiting for the re-engage, though, as half of CLG turns invulnerable. Bjergsen flashing away now. Mike Young wants in. Exhaust, looks for the ulti, doesn't actually go for it. It was actually on cooldown for a few more seconds, I do believe. Unable to cast that regardless, maybe hoping to beta flash it as fire across or something else, but didn't have that anyway.
Darshan poking away up on that top side, but TSM, having run CLG off, actually going to retreat back down and try and secure the second Ocean Drake for themselves.
Looks like no contest, unless it's kind of crazy boomerang toss over the wall, but seems rather unlikely at this point. No one's getting into range, and Ocean number 2 goes over to TSM. The favorites of this game, absolutely, and the ones that you should root for if you want massive tiebreakers. Bring that up a second time here in this game because tiebreakers are exciting. TSM also still in the running for a first-round bye, I do believe. And yes, indeed they are. So, TSM could still be the number 2 team heading into the playoff race, which, based on the start of their season, you'd think almost impossible, but they have certainly looked like they can do it. As they get rid of more and more of the vision. Baron Nashor spawning in 7 seconds. With the Ocean, they can play this dance around the map for a very long time.
Yeah, Counterlogic Gaming right now really trying to carve out some sort of area where they can actually create the play from. They do have a Taliyah, right? So you're looking for them to get the Taliyah wall in, cut someone off, try and pick someone from TSM who's away from the rest of the team. However, they've been really well contained. TSM not letting any of the vision kind of creep past the river here. All CLG's vision is defensive. Only the blue trinkets really getting outside there. And as you said, with Baron live, TSM have an extra pull out into the map that they can try and use to bait.
See what they can find if anyone on CLG bites on the hook. Do they like worms? Do they like Baron? Do they like the river control? Well, TSM making sure that there's no wards on this side of this one. And they're getting rid of pretty much everything. There is nothing that CLG can easily see. There's a control ward that's going to be dead. Darshan gets smacked by a giant hammer. Hanser yells at him, but misses.
How do you miss with
yelling?
A yell.
Yeah, I don't know, but League of Legends. Physics not its best friend.
That's always a good answer. Meanwhile, Sven is the target. We talked about trying to create that play. They're looking for a Sejuani ult into Talia possibly roaming. The window might be gone.
Ooh, the Vision of Empire is going to find a slow, and now the root on the front line. Mike going to flash away. A giant Rumble comes across, but they're still down to about half HP, and the pullback is in. That'll be an easy pickup. Rainover is gone yet again. A killing spree for Sven's Kog'Maw. They've reached the backline as well. 6A flashing away, but Sion here as well for the knockup. That'll be a kill picked up. Swain will explode and find the damage, and 6A actually still will not yet drop as Sven chases under the turret. Hatsu dealing with 6A in the backline as well. There we go. The tower dive comes through. TSM AD carries known for those aggressive flashes after all. 2 more kills to this fight now. Mithy holding the front line, gets low, gets to flash away. Zhonya's pop-up, Bjergsen very low, the boomerang gonna land, the kill does come through, a shutdown to Darshan, and Huhi out of mana, but has that presence of mind, flashes for the Q, lands the shots, wants to kill Sven, but he's life stealing it, one more shot and gets him, Huhi finds himself the second kill, and turns what a catastrophe into simply a minor loss, but now a knockup's gonna be landed, and Mithy can rejoin. Keep in mind, Ocean Drake means health regen, these are kanky enough players to keep fighting.
Huhi and Darshan hunting down some kills to turn that one back around for themselves after a very, very bad start here. Let's take another look. We have Vision of the Empire starting off. You know, Mike Young is going in there on the Skarner, but well-timed ultimate from Biofrost denies a decent amount of damage, but the delayed ultimate from Mike Young does find the isolated kill. And from then, CLG are on the run, but TSM kind of straggling out here. They do get onto 6A, aren't able to quite finish off that kill. Biofrost goes down through the turrets. And then we're back out onto the field. Teleport comes out.
3 versus 1, Darshan. Not long for the world suppression to make sure it's easy enough. Ulti from Sion as well. Burning 2 of them on that, plus the teleport, but they get that kill. They get even more map control.
TSM again with the extra power play now. 5 versus 4. Pushing on the bottom lane. Mike Young is going through the jungle there. Looked like he was trying to get a little more vision for Hunter to work with, but he's just going to take away the Raptors and wait around for that red spawn, possibly. Oh, Baron, actually. The call's been made. Get off the Raptors.
Yep. Don't pull a double lift. Baron's on the table. Chickens can wait. See if they can find. Sven going to clear the mid lane out by himself, so he could be jumped on. There's the ulti coming across, pulls the cleanse, and still slowed. Not going to be grabbed by Talia either, so able to kite that one pretty nicely. And now Mike Young in the front line, looking for a bit of crowd control. Does not have an ultimate, though, so there is no impale to pull someone back in, but they force the flash out of Rainover. Didn't want to get caught up by the Sion Q, and CLG do not get what they wanted. They only get the cleanse out of Sven.
Yep, and they had to blow some flashes and some ultimates to do it. TSM still with control over Baron, sitting on these control wards. Problem is, the Scuttle Crab, no way to clear that one out, so Counterlogic Gaming will retain their little bit of vision, which allows them to get those bases off. Still holding on here. CLG looking for that possible play to get back into it, but TSM patiently baiting, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much the goal for them right now. 5,000 lead, double ocean, infinite resources for these players. Through the mid lane wave. Look at Baron afterwards. 50 seconds on Infernal Drake, so there's no trade yet for CLG. Into the front line they go. Look for the major ultimates as Bjergsen is a giant bird on this one. An invulnerable CLG look for the play. Mithy cutting away at low HP. Mega Gnar looking for something to do with Darshan. He has it. Pulls him back in. Now Bjergsen still way too tanky as the first kill comes through. 6A is gone. The ulti fires out for no more damage. 1 for 0. TSM with control. Sven looks for the snipe. Can't quite get Darshan. And now the big wall comes across again, stopped out by Mithy, and Huhi gonna die for this one. He's gonna try to find Sven, but it's not enough damage as the second kill comes through for TSM, courtesy of Huhi's own doing.
Ooh, that is definitely gonna be the Baron there. He's trying to pick off Sven in the backside, but said again, Mithy, unbreakable, blocking that one off, giving him an early stop, and he's gonna take that one all the way back to the death chambers. Baron for TSM.
Drake is alive in 3 seconds. CLG might try to make a run for this one if they can kill it in time, but that Baron is not contestable. The spike comes down at the right time. Mike Young grabs that 7,000 gold lead, and now the attempt to kill Baron, or sorry, I should say Infernal Drake, but their team is half dead. They have very little damage here, and TSM are walking down.
Uh-oh, it's a race against time here for CLG. Don't think they're going to win.
They're not going to win, so TSM get even more of this one. Double Ocean now, plus an Infernal to their name as well. TSM have everything they could possibly need to win this one and keep that hunt for a playoff bye alive. Watch that fight again.
All right, Predator popped. Initially, we're going to have him circle around here, and the Varus ultimate starts it off. Bjergsen immediately uses the Zhonyas with his ultimate on. They do have the Taric ultimate come down, but not a lot of things expended during the duration. And TSM are able to re-engage immediately afterwards and get the Skarner ultimate onto Stixxay. So Stixxay is basically taken out as soon as that Taric ultimate ends, locked up with crowd control. And after that one, who he thought he was going to be able to pick off Sven maybe, but he's got his trusty sidekick Mithy.
Yep.
Followed him all the way over to NA. He's not going to abandon him now.
No, of course not. And even Sven has a pretty MR-heavy build with Merc turns into Wit's End, so it's not the easiest to assassinate. Hurricane now done as well and building towards lifesteal. TSM in a absolute commander's seat right now. Baron buff on, looking for what kind of split push they want. They have kept the Psy in the mid lane, the rest of the squad heading to the top. So a 4-1 for these guys is who he and the rest of CLG looking to defend this one. The Gnar will be holding off against Hauntzer in the mid lane. And as TSM starts attacking, the Lee wall comes in, the hard engage. They're going to look for the 4v4 here. This one, Tarico comes in for the invulnerability. Raynor just barely stays alive, but for how much longer? The snipe could come down, but won't quite tag him. This bannered up cannon minion. It kills slower than before, but we all know how to count, and it goes down.
All right, meanwhile, mid lane, Hauntzer as well by himself was doing some work on that turret. CLG rotated over to try and push off the minion wave, but they lost the 5v4. They're gonna lose this as well. TSM move right in.
And the re-engage might be coming across, 4 shots in. No re-aggros to the champions. Oh, the minion is a betrayer, and it stopped shooting the turret down. Thank you for joining me with the booze. I appreciate you all greatly. You're a wonderful audience, the best I've ever cast for, no lie. All right, let's go on to the siege continuing as TSM waits for the next wave. Bjergsen tries to shepherd it in with the Baron buff. Wards get killed back and forth, Stixxay down to 2/3. There has to give some respect, and now it's a mini Gnar for Darshan, so the engage threat much lower. Raynor missing an ultimate, that's the turret gone. TSM looking out the top inhibitor, that's gonna fall no problems as CLG cannot possibly fight past that 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, Mike Young actually walks all the way up to Stixxay, lets him off there easy as TSM make the call to focus on objectives. Pushing through mid now, second inhibitor tower under fire.
Hauntzer nigh invulnerable though. And that turret's down to 1/3 HP, but the minion wave's getting cleared out, and this will be a potential disengage. TSM's Baron buff only lasts 20 more seconds. They've got this minion wave, and that's it with the purple buff on. Might be enough to knock down the turret plus the inhibitor. 10 seconds now, but that turret is going to fall, and once again, CLG likely to cede the second inhib.
Yeah, especially now Darshan is exhausted in mini Gnar. Can't add a lot to the team fight.
Biofrost was afraid of getting flash ulted or something by Mike Young. You saw him flash away just by getting rooted from Bjergsen. That is now a Taric flash gone. And a pretty easy reset available for TSM if they want it. Their coffer's pretty full. Close to 2,000 gold on every player on that team.
Yep, TSM just go get to mine the jungle now, clear out a couple camps on their way home. 2 inhibitors already off the table, so just return to the bottom side, make the strong push with super minions in the other 2 lanes. That was a 5,300 gold Baron power play. Definitely a bit above average due to all the structures they were able to take. See if CLG can make a stand, though. It's looking very, very grim for them.
Yeah, if they wanted to make a stand, their legs got a lot weaker. Sadly, they apparently skipped leg day in this game because the weight is building up on their shoulders, and CLG might just end this split on a 2-game losing streak here. Dropped to Optic yesterday, had their playoff hopes shattered, and TSM about to take another win here away from them. 11,000 gold lead, and down to the bot lane, the only inhibitor left available. TSM hoping to close this one out, and then await the rest of the results of the day.
5-way tie, still up there, right?
5-way tie. The dream is TSM wins that one, and that's still a possibility here, and in fact, the likely outcome. TSM are not guaranteed to play tiebreakers based on the other results, but of course it is very likely. So, bottom tier 2 turret is gone. CLG have only picked up 5 kills, 1 Drake, and 1 turret all game. Very little to show for themselves, sadly, to their fans. They're split about to end. A root on a Ven pops the cleanse. A stun, though, on the front line. They might get a little bit done here, and Bjergsen ult into zone. He's going to stay alive for a while. Terracolt comes in, crystallized Starlight. TSM gonna kite back. They found the kill on Darshan, courtesy of Mike Young, and now they're re-engaged as Stixxay, a bit alone in the front line, gonna be shut down by the Soul Flare. Bjergsen finds his second kill of the fight, looking for a bit more as Biofrost slowed down. The one goes over to Sven now as Huhi, the last one standing, runs back to the fountain, nothing to show for himself. TSM gonna close this one down. 11-7 will be their end record at the end of regulation here in the spring split. Their chance at a playoff bye remains alive. Congratulations, TSM.
Well, there you have it. TSM heading into playoffs looking very strong here. Happy about this victory. And Swain, yeah.
Not really surprising.
Making him look quite good.
Absolutely. Champion definitely strong, but Bjergsen showed pretty well on that one. We are down to 4 scenarios left. 3 of the 4 include a 4+ way tie. Well, a split of growth for TSM. It was honestly a bit shocking. There was so much talent on paper. You thought they were a shoo-in for the first place team. They looked so amazing, and they had just the roughest start. 3 losses in their first 4 games. But by the end of it all, they made that late split surge, and a lot of teams now respectful of TSM. 7-2 in the second round robin here. Only one team has a better record than that in 100 Thieves at 7-1 so far. We'll see what TSM can find for themselves in the postseason. Whether they play in the quarterfinal or semifinal remains to be seen, but they are certainly a very strong team right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, CLG with a tumultuous split for themselves as well. Back to the drawing boards for them.
Well, for more on that TSM win, let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You heard it from them. 7-2 on the back half of the split for TSM, really turning it on as they make their push for the best playoff positioning that they can possibly achieve. For CounterLogic Gaming, a disappointing end to a disappointing split.
Yeah, man.
Moving to 7-11. I want to dive right into this game, though, Jad. I know you have some thoughts on draft and the way that they've played out, in particular today.
Yeah, well, the last 2 games, I feel like Red Side has had a much stronger draft than Blue Side, which runs in polar opposite to what we've been seeing from the past few weeks. And I think in this instance, it was just CLG not having the right value on the power pick. So Skarn and Olaf is one example of 2 junglers that are first pickable, especially if there's a pinch, which TSM sets up here with the Olaf ban.
Right.
And then it's just a first pick Varus. So the value they're getting out of that when they didn't even really win bottom lane against the Kog'Maw is low. On top of that, they get Sion and Swain on the second half of the draft. To me, that's not a Red Side thing. That should just be phase 2 bans by CLG, but they instead threw those to Karma and Cho'Gath. Sion and Swain are potentially 2 of the strongest blind pick soul laners you can have in the game right now.
Right, so the fact that they were even allowed to go through on that second ban phase is huge, let alone both end up on the same team.
Yeah, as Sven said on one of the TSM Legends episodes, it's like he was smurfing in draft, like their coach. I don't understand how you get that stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes you see some things, you're like, oh, there were some tough decisions in this draft. I might have done it differently, but like I understand why they did that. Like the CLG draft giving up this much power just on the Red Side doesn't really need to happen, so you're left scratching your head a lot on what they were trying to do here.
Right.
Didn't work at all.
I mean, so of course you dig yourself a hole in Champion Select, and then it basically demands perfect execution if you're going to find your way out of it. That's not what happens here. TSM ultimately gets ahead with some sweet moves in the early game. Bjergsen making some visitations to the side lanes as well.
Yeah, I mean, CLG's draft still makes sense on paper where it's like, all right, we want these 2 winning side lanes.
This was a great play for them here.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 winning side lanes. They have a Talia that can roam first and try and get involved in play, so that's kind of what you see down here. The Varus getting a fight versus the Braum Kog'Maw. Both junglers are down there, and then the Vision, or the W comes in, but then Huhi follows up first, so he's able to get a kill, 2 kills,
yeah,
and
really
then
nice play.
Yeah, it works out great for CLG, but at the end of the day, you're still playing against a much stronger team comp in terms of individual picks, and just watch Bjerg in this fight.
Yeah, and this is kind of the power of Swain, why we see many people ban it.
1v3.
He's 1v3 just holding off, and then he still kills Stixxay. Right here with the ult into Zhonya's pop as the Raptors.
The Raptors get mad, dude.
Get mad, he flashed over and hit him. why are you doing that? And then they can easily just chain through because they have a Righteous Glory on the Scion, who's easily able to tank the turrets because he's one of the tankiest champions in the game.
Yep.
And they just keep running plays over and over in the mid lane. Like, and this is why I like the TSM competition so much as well. You want to be able to jump on the Kog'Maw, but you just can't get through Swain, Scion, and Skarn.
Right. There's been a number of times where, like, Darshan was alone in the backside and no one else can follow up, get through that Swain, and then you don't have the damage to actually finish him off. We saw it in the mid lane fight. Once again there, Darshan gets a nice hop in, and Sven actually flashed it as well. So just great play out of TSM, really coming online as a team. Swain doing a lot of damage to keep up with Kog'Maw.
We're finally starting to see some examples of why Swain should be feared as a champion in the current meta. But Jat, I know you had some theory crafting that you were throwing around on the Swain build.
Oh, maybe, yeah, you want the double Zhonya's
maybe a yet to be uncovered secret that the pros can pick up for playoffs?
Oh, yeah. So
You want to plead the fifth?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to make it explain this one.
I could. So I want to see, in some situations, the Swain Zhonya Zing, because you're holding the ult for 12 seconds and healing the whole time.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, all right, once his Zonya's up, then
now
we can
get him.
Buy the stopwatch, pop it again. It'll be 5 seconds of stasis.
Of pure invulnerability.
Yeah. One time, Bjergsen had to flash out after Zonies. If he just had another
Zonia's again.
I'm moving on to fold the sheet. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. Fold the sheets, done.
Love it. We're losing our minds.
I'm the only one folding it live. You guys keep pre-folding.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, you
this time around. I didn't do this time around.
They ran a
graphic. With you.
They ran a graphic earlier. I don't think we can necessarily see this if I hold it up to the screen. Okay, right here. I'm going to hold it very.
We've got 4 remaining
a lot of
scenarios.
orange, which is scary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
Basically, I'm covering up
4 remaining scenarios, one of which...
Focus. Yeah, if Echo Fox wins, we're guaranteed the 5-way tie or the 4-way tie. The only way we get a single tiebreaker game is with a 100 Thieves win
and an
optic win.
Which, based off strength of teams, is probably the least likely scenario.
Also,
we're just going to have to wait to find out.
The fact that we had 100 possibilities on this foldy sheet and everything has just folded up to the top is kind of remarkable.
I know, we just keep folding the bottom half of the sheet.
Yeah.
You are
but enough of us working through the crazy scenarios that can be determining the remainder of the day. For now, we're going to toss it down to Avli to hear from TSM's bot lane duo.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Lord Sven and Senior Mithy. Gentlemen, congratulations on that victory. You guys also have tiebreakers on the horizon. What are your thoughts going into those?
It's going to be a long day. That's cool.
I just hope there's going to be like I heard there was going to be a 5-way tie, possibly, for us getting second. So that would be pretty nice.
5-way tie. Intimidating going into those, but I wanted to ask you too, I've spoke to you separately over the split, but now that you guys are together, how did coming into the NALCS as a pair kind of affect your transition here?
It helped me because I didn't really need to focus on my lane matchups that much, because me and Jesper have been playing for a while, so it's pretty easy to talk things through, and we already know how, like, the main concept of how we want to play lane. So, yeah, it was mostly about getting good as a team and communication and all that, and I just had to disregard lane for the most part.
What's the question again?
How did coming in as a pair kind of affect your transition coming into the scene?
I don't think there was like a huge difference. It's just that we as a duo don't need time to gel, and I think Kevin and Björk were the same thing. So it was only like the 2 duos of the team that has to gel with Mike, and it was pretty easy, I think. So a few first rough weeks for us, but I think once we were past the week 5 win 0-2 against Cloud9 and Clutch, I think we had like a big talk, and then we started like moving forward in a much better practice environment and much better like staff working with us, and it was super good from there onwards.
When you have these 2 duos, like you said, Hanser and Bjergsen and you too, is it difficult getting those 2 duos to mesh together, or is it easier?
I don't think so. I think that Bjergsen and Hanser are 2 very nice guys, and they're also personalities I have. Like the personalities are kind of like my teammates in the past, some of them, and it's very easy, I think. And Mike is a very mature player despite his age, so I think there was almost no problems for us gelling together. It was just like a playstyle gel, no more than personality thing, right?
And you guys are wrapping up your first split on TSM. How does your time here compare to your experience on G2 and EU?
It's less cold.
Less cold?
Yeah.
All right, there. How about you?
I mean, the weather here is pretty nice compared to Berlin and Denmark, so that's nice. But I think overall, I don't really go outside my house that much, so that doesn't really matter. Solo queue is pretty different. The ping is higher. There's a lot of streamers, one tricks, but overall, LA is pretty nice, and I like it here. So
Great. Well, streamers, one tricks in sunny weather. Congratulations again on your victory, guys. And stick around because after the break, we're going to see Echo Fox take on 100 Thieves.
They go for the stun. Ooh, the auto attack comes through, and Reyna, we're pretty low out the flash for the chase in. They're gonna get the damage.
I can come first. I'm ulting. Stunner. I stunned him. Alright, nice. Good job, guys. And flashes? No flash, bro. Got him. Good job. Nice. Go mid. There's 1 HP. I can stun.
Yeah, I can grab.